Hare Krishna, everyone. Let's start Sri Isopanishad, Mantra 1. Let's recite it together. But let me do it. You lead and follow. Okay, let's do lead and follow. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Ishavasyam
ईशवस्यम्
idam
इदं
sarvam.
सर्वम्
Yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Yat kincha
यत्किञ्च जगत्यां
jagatyam
जगत्
tena tyaktena bhunjita. Tena
तेन
tyaktena
त्यक्तेन
bhunjita.
भुञ्जीता
Magridha kasya svidhanam. Magridha
मागृतकस्य
svidhanam.
स्विद्धनम्
Ishavasyamidam sarvam. Ishavasyamidam
Midam
sarvam.
ईशवस्यमिदं
Sarvam
सर्वम्
Yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Yatkincha
यत्किञ्च
jagatyam
Jagatyam
jagat.
जगत्यां
Jagat
Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Tena
Tena
तेन
tyaktena
त्यक्तेन
bhunjitha.
Tyaktina
भुञ्जीता
Magridha kasya svidhanam. Magridha
Magridhakasya
kasya
मागृतकस्य
Svidhanam
svidhanam.
स्विद्धनम्
Once more. Ishavasyamidam sarvam.
Ishavasyam
Ishavasyamidam
Midam
ईशवस्यमिदं
sarvam.
Sarvam
सर्वम्
Yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Yatkincha
Yatkincha
यत्किञ्च
jagatyam
Jagatyam
जगत्यां
jagat.
Jagat
जगत्
Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Tena
Tena
तेन
tyaktena
Tyaktena
त्यक्तेन
Bhunjita
भुञ्जीता
Magridha kasya svidhanam. Magridha
Magridhakasya
kasya
मागृतकस्य
Svidhanam
svidhanam. Okay. Please, can somebody read the translation?
Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong.
Very bold. So, we will follow the same style like we did last time. We'll read the full purport and everybody please share some of your realizations. But before we go further, let's break down this verse a little so we can understand completely. I'm just going to mute everyone just for a few minutes. Okay. So Isha Vasyam. So this word, please just put it in your memory. This is a very important word. It is our teachers refer to it as Isha Vasyam principle. Okay. So Isha Vasyam basically means that everything in this world is controlled by the Lord, or everything in this world is the property or owned by the Lord. Okay, so everything in this world is Lord's property. That is called Isha Vasyam principle. So Isha Vasyam idam sarvam. So everything that you see, idam sarvam, all this is the property of the Lord. Yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Everything that is there, whether it's inanimate or animate within this world. Everything. So jagat is being referred to as animate or inanimate. And the first jagat here is referred to universe. So within this universe, everything animate or inanimate is the property of the Lord. Okay. So you cannot say that this table is mine because I commissioned the architect to make it. This house is mine. This chair is mine. This car is mine. No, nothing, because all inanimate and animate objects, everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. So Isha Vasyam. Okay. Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Okay. Tena tyaktena bhunjita. Tyakten word is very important. So from the first line, Isha Vasyam is the one word that you need to remember. Anybody ever says anything to you about, oh, this is mine, I am the owner of this, remember Isha Vasyam. No, this is not owned by you. This is Isha Vasyam. Okay. In the second line, remember Jagatyam Jagat. Okay, that everything within this world, whether it's animate or inanimate, is owned by the Supreme Lord. Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Tyakten word is very important. Tyakten means that there is a quota set aside for everyone which he can enjoy. Okay. So one should only accept. Bhunjita means to enjoy or to accept only that much which is set aside for us. And each person has a different quota. Not everybody is given the same quota. Okay. So tena tyaktena bhunjita. We are given different quota for enjoyment. Ma gridha kasya svidhanam. And beyond that, Gridha word is important to, Ma Gridha is important to remember. Do not endeavor to enjoy the property. Here, dhanam is mentioned, dhan that does not belong to you, a property uh, that does not belong to you. Do not endeavor to enjoy something, to take something that does not belong to you, knowing very well who it belongs to. Okay. So, Magrida, do not accept anything more than the quota that is set aside for you, knowing that this is all a property of the Lord. This is all Isha, Basyam, whether it's animate or inanimate that exists within this world. So, with this basic understanding of the verse, let's read the purport. So, please take turns and keep reading. Let's not have long pauses in between. I know everybody is doing something or the other on Sunday morning, but please keep the flow of the class going. So let's see who wants to read the first paragraph and read it in such a way that you're ready to share 2-3 lines from it. Who wants to read first?
You want me to start?
Sure.
Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down through the perfect disciplic succession of spiritual masters, beginning with the Lord Himself. Since He spoke the first word of Vedic knowledge, the source of this knowledge is transcendental. The words spoken by Lord are called aparashya, aparashya, which indicates that they are not delivered by any mundane person. A living being who lives in the mundane world has four defects. He is certain to commit mistakes, he is subject to illusion, he has propensity to cheat others, and his senses are imperfect. No one with these four imperfections can deliver perfect knowledge. The Vedas are not produced by such an imperfect creature. Vedic knowledge was originally imparted by the Lord into the heart of Brahma, the first created living being. And Brahma, in his disseminated and his turn, disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples who have handed it down through history. Hare Krishna. So, so here we are starting with the Ishavasya first verse of Shri Upanishad, and it is being discussed that how this knowledge is not any mundane knowledge that we are used to. This knowledge is transcendental. Transcendental means beyond this material world, beyond the three modes of material nature. And whereas humans are, they cannot give perfect knowledge because we keep seeing like research, medical research, everything, things keep changing because our knowledge that we attain from scientific experiments or based upon our experiences in this material world is based upon our experiences which are limited by either our senses and these four imperfections which are mentioned here. So one, that we have imperfect senses. So like our vision is imperfect. We can't see, eagles can see much farther than us, right? So our eyes, we can't see bacteria. There's so many other things we can't see. The second thing is certain to commit mistakes. So there has to be, so we can't, nobody ever in this material world, any human can say that I've never committed any mistake, because we say to err is human, right? So this to err is human. Third is he is subject to illusion. So there are so many illusions that we know of, right? Which are optical illusions or so many other illusions. We are subject to illusion that proves us. He has propensity to cheat others. That's an inherent propensity of the human being, is to cheat others. So when we have had so many research articles that we know about which have misled or misguided the world for so long sometimes, and then later they put in a retraction. They have to put in, when there's too much pressure from the scientific world, they have to put in a retraction. Hey, you cheated, basically. You didn't report the findings correctly, so they have to put a retraction. So there are many examples of that, but we won't go into that. But here, that is what is being talked about that this knowledge is coming from a Purusha, the person who is not a Purush, who's not a human, who is not subject to these four problems. And the Vedas are not produced by such an imperfect creature like humans. So it was the first word of the Vedas was spoken by the Lord himself, and this knowledge was given directly to the heart of Brahma, airdropped, and then this Vedic knowledge was imparted by Lord into heart of Brahma, and then it has come through the disciplic succession. Lord Brahma gave it to his sons and others, and then it is passed on like that as it is. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nirbhay Prabhu. Very nicely summarized this. So if you follow the flow of Isopanishad, the first verse said that Lord is complete and everything that emanates from him is complete, whole and perfect, right? Purnam. That's why Purnam word keeps coming. The second verse is then saying, and this Lord that is complete and whole is the owner and proprietor of everything. Okay. And you will see that the third verse will continue from then on. So that is so feel the flow of this verse. And Prabhupada is so wonderful that he is emphasizing to us from the get-go. Okay, because this is the first mantra. He's telling us that this knowledge that we are about to embark on this journey has been started by by the supreme person who is not an ordinary living entity. So he has given this knowledge which is transcendental. This is transcendental knowledge. This is not the ordinary knowledge of this world. So this knowledge is apaurushya. That is why we say Ved Vakya is apaurushya. Okay, it is not by any Purush of this world. It is by the Supreme Purush, the Supreme Person. So that Purush is not the Purush in terms of this world's definition, because this world's definition of Purush has four defects. Okay, those people have four defects. People like me, regular people, or even great scientists, they have all these four defects, that they can make mistakes, they have their senses are imperfect, they're illusioned, and they can cheat others. Whereas Lord is beyond these imperfections. He's perfect, he's complete and perfect. We just read in the first verse, he's complete and perfect. So he's infallible. He's completely infallible. He made the rules, so he knows those rules the best. It's like a software designer. He designed the software, so he knows that software in and out. That's why he's absolute truth. He never gets contaminated by this body or by the illusions of this world. So he's never illusioned. He does not make mistakes. He's infallible, absolute truth. And he gave this original knowledge into the heart of Brahmaji. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muyanti Yat Suraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisarga Mrisha Dhamna Sveda Satta Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. First verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Where the first verse itself says that all the knowledge was given into the heart of Brahmaji. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. To that first Kavi, the first philosopher of this world, of this mundane, ordinary world, the first philosopher is Brahmaji. And how did he become the first scholar, the first philosopher, the Adi Kavi? Because Lord gave him the knowledge directly in his heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. और ये वो उस व्यक्ति ने ये नॉलेज दी है मुयंती यत् सूरया, जिससे सूर्य आदि देवगण भी bewilder हो जाते हैं, कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं. He is confused by all, he confuses all these other demigods also. So what is the qualification of an ordinary living entity? He has these imperfections. So this knowledge is given by somebody much superior than that. Okay. Let's keep on reading. Who wants to read the next one? Nilveni Mataji, you want to read? Please keep on picking one after another. I shouldn't have to call out the names. If you're paying attention, please keep going.
Mataji. Since the Lord is Purnam, all perfect, there is no possibility of his being subjected to the laws of material nature, which he controls. However, both the living entities and inanimate objects are controlled by the laws of nature and ultimately by the Lord's potency. This Ishopanishad is a part of Ajurveda and consequently it contains information concerning the proprietor, proprietorship of all things existing within the universe. Hariom.
माताजी अगला भी पढ़ लीजिए.
The Lord's proprietorship, I'm sorry for pronunciation, over
Proprietorship.
proprietorship over everything within the universe is confirmed in the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, fifth sloka, where Para and Apara Prakriti are discussed. The elements of nature, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego all belong to the Lord's inferior material energy, Apara Prakriti, whereas the living being, the organic energy. His is his superior energy, para prakriti. Both of these prakritis or energies are emanations from the Lord, and ultimately he is the controller of everything that exists. There is nothing in the universe that does not belong to either the para or the apara prakriti. Therefore, everything is a property of the supreme being.
Very cool. Mataji, want to share something from this?
Not that much. Everything is God. Like we are the parts of the God being. We have come from Him, so we don't have our individual mind or anything. It's all. Everything is His only.
Right. Okay, Hari Bol. Yes, thank you, Mataji, for sharing. So, Krishna says this. So, this part we discussed that what is Isopanishad? We discussed this last time. It is one of the 108 Upanishads. Out of those 108, actually, there are 11 that are the topmost, and Isopanishad is part of those 11 and is one of the shortest ones. So, we are tackling a short book, so you should be very encouraged by that. And it is part of the Yajurveda. So, in Bhagavad Gita and in many other places, of course, Prabhupada has quoted Bhagavad Gita, which is our preliminary, elementary study of self-realization. So in seventh chapter and many other places, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that everything emanates from him. This whole material world is resting on him. This whole material world, all the living entities are just his energies, right? He says there are two types of energies, para and apara prakriti. So para is the superior energy of the Lord. We should all know this word para, which is superior energy of the Lord, and apara prakriti, which is the inferior energy of the Lord. So my question to you is, which energy are we? Do we belong to? Do we belong to superior or inferior energy of the Lord? To para or apara prakriti?
Superior.
Superior, yes, we are superior energy of the Lord, right? And so can you give me any example of inferior energy of the Lord?
I mean, like our ego, mind,
Yes. All the elements of the nature, right?
intelligence. Yeah, all the elements like water, ether.
Yes, mind, intelligence, ego are the subtle elements. Yes, Namita Mataji.
Anger, Mataji, our
Huh?
anger, our anger.
Sure, anger is, like a quality, basically. But when we say energies, we typically talk about various aspects of this world, like the world itself and this body and all the components of the body, the gross and the subtle body. They're all apara, prakriti, or inferior energy of the Lord. So anything that is made up of gross and subtle elements. So Prabhupada has quoted this verse 7.4 and 5. 7.4, Krishna says, भूमिरपो नलो वायु खम्मनो बुद्धिरेव च ahankaro iti amme bhinna prakritir ashtadha. That these eight energies of mine are these eight separated energies of mine are the inferior energies. He says bhumi, apo, nalo, vayu, so earth, water, fire, Kham, Mano, Buddhir. So Rekha Mataji mentioned, right? Mind, intelligence, and this is Kham is Kha is ether. Ahankar is ego. Itiyamme bhinna prakritir ashtada. These are my eightfold separated material energies. So material energy means inferior or apara prakriti. Okay. And then 7.5 also, let me show you. So this is coming from Bhagavad Gita. If everybody is paying attention, 7th chapter, Bhagavad Gita. Aparayam itastva anyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind. So he just mentioned the 8 inferior energies. Then he says there is a superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So this is the concept that we have to discuss today. Exploitation of the resources of the material nature, because everything belongs to Krishna and we are not at liberty to exploit or waste the resources of the material nature. So the first concept to understand is that everything belongs to Krishna. It's his energy. Okay, aham sarvasya prabhuvo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhav samanvita. That intelligent people know that aham sarvasya prabhuvo, that from me everything emanates. Aham sarvasya prabhuvo matta sarvam pravartate. Okay, everything is my energies only. He also says Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakt murtina. That everything has come from me, O Arjun. Maya tatam idam sarvam. This whole jagat is resting on me. Okay. But he says everything, I am the foundation of everything, but I am not dependent on anything. So in this way, Krishna says many, many times in Bhagavad Gita and many other places that everything is under my rule. He says, Maya adhyakshen prakriti suyate sacharacharam. That in this world, the char and achar, this whole prakriti is working under my guidance. Maya adhyakshen prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Hetu nanena konteya jagat viprivartate. By my guidance only this world moves, this world revolves, this world works. So he has put into place various laws, various energies, various techniques, technologies in place that make this world work. Okay, the sun rises every morning on time. The seasons change, right? The day and night comes. The time goes, and then the world gets annihilated, and then another creation starts, and then all the elements enter into the material world, and then various other qualities enter into the material world, and by the interaction of the jiva and those qualities, the ego, then the energy starts acting up, right, and living being starts getting manifested. So many things happen just by Krishna's desire, his will to his energies. So everything is the property of the Lord. Okay, now let's keep reading. Who wants to read the next one? Yurika Mataji, want to read?
I can read. Because the Supreme Being, the absolute personality of Godhead, is complete person, he has complete and perfect intelligence to adjust everything by means of his different potencies. The Supreme God is often compared to fire, and everything organic and inorganic is compared to heat and the light of fire. Just as fire distributes energy in the form of heat and light, the Lord displays his energy in different ways. He thus remains the ultimate controller, sustainer, and dictator of everything. He is possessor of all potencies, the knower of everything, and benefactor of everyone. He is full of inconceivable opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Haribol.
Mataji, read one more.
Okay. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that except for the Lord, no one is proprietor of anything. One should accept only those things that are set aside by Lord as his quota. The cow, for instance, gives milk, but she does not drink that milk. She eats grass and straw, and her milk is designated as food for human beings. Such is the arrangement of the Lord. Thus we must be satisfied with those things He has kindly set aside for us, and we should always consider to whom those things we possess actually belong.
Haribol. Mataji, want to share something?
Yeah, from this, I understand that, obviously God is controller of everything, and We must be satisfied with what God has given us. Sometimes, like, we don't get satisfied what God has given us, and we look at the other person and say, "Oh, I wish what that person has, or what qualities that person has, we should have those qualities too." But we must instead be happy with what God has given and improve ourselves further in life. And even like just another example, they're saying cow gives milk for human beings, but she doesn't drink herself. So we have to look at ourselves, our qualities, our things what God has given us to be satisfied with it and to grow with it and accept it as will of Lord or you know.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so that is the So first we covered the Ishavasya principle, that everything belongs to Lord. So I made just a quick slides. You can look on your screen. So the first concept Prabhupada covered in the purport is the fact
See
that
the
this
slides
knowledge.
right now.
Sorry?
We don't see the slides.
Okay, hold on. Let me try again. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So the first concept Prabhupada covered was the Aparushya concept, okay, that we've discussed in detail, that Krishna is transcendental, he's a supreme person, he's not part of this world, and he has created this world. So he knows what are the rules, what are the laws, what is the purpose of our life, and how we need to conduct our life. All this knowledge is given in the transcendental Vedic knowledge, and so this knowledge is Aparushya, okay. It is eternal. There are details given in this that are very, very, amazing, intricate details. Um, Secondly, this knowledge is always relevant. Like Nirbhay Prabhu was saying, this knowledge never changes. It's always relevant and eternal. Okay. So there is no changes to the Vedic knowledge. As in, okay, we are going to print a new edition of Vedas. No, it's always the same. It is always relevant. It applies to all classes of living entities, to all um, uh, and it is meant for self-realization. Okay? Then the second concept that we are reading from this verse is Ishavasya. So Ishavasya principle also, I think you all understood that Ishavasya means everything is property of the Lord. He's the supreme controller, maintainer, proprietor. He owns everything. He created everything. He owns everything. Nothing belongs to us. So now the paragraph that Mataji just read was talking about the next concept of quota, like how much quota is there set aside for us. Okay. So she mentioned a nice point that we have, certain amount that is given to us that we should consume, we should use, and should not be greedy to or be envious of other people that may be getting more than us. Okay. Now let me ask you. So Krishna said these are all my energies, right? Now, in current world, in modern world, not only in modern world, in the past also, in our scriptures also, there are examples where people have tried to just use the energies of the Lord and exploit the energies without surrendering to the Lord. Okay, this is the program. This is the propaganda of the materialistic creation, of materialistic mindset, where whatever energies of Lord are there, we try to consume them and use them without any gratitude, without any shelter of the Lord, without any service or sacrifice to the Lord. Even though they belong to Him, we just consume them. We just want to enjoy the energies of the Lord. We do not care about the Lord. There are some extreme examples of this given in the scriptures. Can anybody think of any examples from the scriptures where somebody tried to enjoy the energies of the Lord, um, uh, try to exploit them without. Yes, Nirbhay Prabhu.
So the common example of this is like Ravan, who tried to enjoy the energy, that is Mother Sita, without Lord Ram. So trying to enjoy the energy without the Lord, that does not work.
Yes, wonderful. So he just wanted Mother Sita, who is the energy of the Lord, right? Without the Lord himself. Okay, Rekha Mataji, were you sharing something?
No, Mataji.
Okay. Any other examples come to mind? very famous example from Mahabharata, when somebody was given the choice of energy and the energetic, and they chose the energy.
Duryodhan.
Yes, yes, right? Duryodhan chose the energy, and the devotee, the friend, chose the
Krishna.
energetic, right? So there was an option to choose between Narayan versus Narayani Sena, and Duryodhan chose Narayani Sena because he thought this could benefit me. But of course, without presence of Lord, the energy cannot do much. So Narayani Sena will also be completely, the spoiled, will be defeated unless the Lord is there. So this is the state of modern man. They want to find ways to and means to enjoy the energies without surrendering to the Lord. There have been many atheistic, scientists in such a way who have tried to distort the laws of nature, rules of nature created by the Lord in order to defy death, in order to defy, so many rules that they have tried to defy. But actually, unless those rules are used, unless those energies are used in service of the Lord, unless they are used in conjunction with understanding of the Lord, those people and their plans tend to be foiled typically. So there is one another personality who tried to reverse the laws of the nature, Hiranyakashipu, right? He tried to, so you know how in material world there are certain seasons in which certain fruits are seen. Let's say mango typically comes in summer season, but he tried to change the rules. He actually I have that. I have that open, that chapter, because I was just reading it recently. So this chapter here, um, yes, Hiranyakashipu terrorizes the universe. You will see how he tried to completely change the rules of the universe. So once he got benedictions from Brahmaji, he, instead of using those benedictions, the boons that he were given, he was using them to exploit people, terrorize them, and to cause all this violence and evil propaganda in the world. So what did he do? Hiranyakashipu began to conquer the entire universe. He conquered all the planets in the three worlds, upper, middle, lower. He defeated the rulers of all the other planets and where there are living entities. He brought them under control. Conquering the abodes of all, he seized their power and influence. What is this? This is extending your quota of kingdom or land that was given to you. And you can think of so many invaders that have been like this. Roman Empire or British Empire and Mughal Empire, and so many of these conquerors who have tried to invade the property and the land of other people, try to extend their kingdom with force and terror and violence, beyond their set quota, beyond their set amount of power and influence and opulence that they were given. They're just so greedy, trying to, in this a power struggle, that these invaders ultimately, fall on their faces. So there has been no empire that has been able to last, because everybody's supposed to enjoy just a set quota. So this Hiranyakashipu also had a similar propaganda like these invaders did, right? He was trying to invade. He was trying to possess all the opulence. He began residing in heaven. Heaven was the abode of Indra. This is Indralok, but he started living there. He resided in the most opulent palace of Indra, the king of heaven. So he basically threw Indra out of the heaven and made him his servant, and he started ruling there. So then it describes the steps of King Indra's residence, how he started exploiting that palace and started living there. Um, then it says many such things like that. He completely changed the rules of the universe. Actually, trying to see where that part comes, but he changed the seasons. He told Suryadev not to shine so brightly in the summer, and to rise more in the winters and things like that. So he completely changed the rules of the universe. And of course, when we do that, when we try to defy the rules of the universe, the Ishavasim principle, will come into play. And since this was not your property, you're trying to practice what is called excessive greed or atyahar, this type of mentality of hoarding everything for yourself, of consuming and enjoying everything for yourself, this will lead to your fall down. So this will lead to karma bandhan. This will lead to sinful reactions actually. So these people get a lot of sinful reactions that go beyond their set allotted quota. And this quota is not only in terms of land or property or wealth. This quota goes to the extent of food, how much food we eat. Are we allowed to eat this much food? Are we allowed to eat meat, for example? Meat is not in the quota of our food that is allotted to human beings. So that's why Prabhupada has given that example of cow, that cow is eating grass and straw, right? She's not eating meat. Or tiger is not drinking cow's milk, because he has a certain righteous food that is allotted to him. So it's his right to eat meat. So he's eating that, but he's not greedy for anybody else's food. Whereas human beings are greedy for other people's food and for extending beyond their limit quota. It is said that, let's say there is a sack of grain that's spilled on the streets. Some birds will come and they will take some grains, right? They will take some grains, whatever they need. They'll just take a few grains and leave. Those birds will come and leave. But human being is the only animal that will that will fight over all that grain, and will try to hoard all that grain, even though he did not need it. So human beings' greed is very, and you can see that greed of humans has actually destroyed the planet. So human beings' greed is very, very extensive. This famous saying says, no living creature is naturally greedy except from fear of want. So sometimes they're, fearful, or they need something, so that they're greedy about those things. Or in the case of human beings, from vanity. Like why was Hiranyakashipu being so greedy? Just from vanity. The notion that you are better than people if you can display more superfluous property that they can. That's why people, have so many cars, more cars than they can drive. They have different dress for each event. Like celebrities, what do? They don't want to wear the same dress again. They don't want to repeat the dress again. पिछली बार भी वही डाला था, कहीं सेम ना हो जाए. So this is such a frivolous and selfish and useless type of mentality, that without any genuine need or want, just to project like a very advanced, elevated social status, you have this, you have private jets in which you fly, or um, many, many clothes and many, many shoes, just for your sense gratification and for just some superficial display of social standard. And then there are so many misleading advertisements on the TV that tell you need this, you need this. You don't need any of those things actually. This is just exploiting the resources of this material nature that are provided by Krishna, that are the property of Krishna, but we are misusing them. So we make these artificial wants where we think, I want this, I need this to make me happy, variety of objects that I need to make me happy. So this leads to, this type of uh, shopaholic behavior, shopping addiction, complex buying behavior. People start, and now there is so much online shopping. So people just start shopping whimsically for things that they never need. So this leads to habitual buying. Here is that shop until you drop. ऐसा कुछ बोलते हैं ना, shop until you drop. करते रहो shopping. So this type of consumerism, this type of materialistic mindset leads to wastage of so many precious resources of the nature. Because now to meet these so-called needs or wants of the people, the nature has to supply more, but nature cannot supply more than that, right? Nature is enough. It is complete and whole. Like we read in the last verse, the world is complete and whole to meet the basic needs of the people. It is never enough for the greed of even one man, right? It can meet the needs of everyone, of the whole earth, but it cannot meet the greed of even one man. So in this way, and even for, like, let's say for one person to support this kind of excessive consumerism behavior, so much hard work is needed. They have to work extra hard to make all that money. Um, uh, they have to make more factories to produce all these products that people want. All those factories lead to excess pollution. All this leads to cutting down of the trees and forests, and so much land is consumed in this. Why? Because we need so many things. So much wood is used for so many things, so many metals are needed, so much mining has to be done. So excessive work is needed to support, maintain this type of lifestyle. And then this leads to such a difference in the classes, so much difference in the classes, because there are these type of people who are wasting all the Lakshmi that's given to them. Lakshmi is also energy of the Lord. And of course, people want just Lakshmi, not Narayan. So इसलिए जब दिवाली आती है, everybody is just praying to Lakshmi, nobody is praying to Narayan, when the festival is actually meant for the return of Lord Ram and Sita to their to our home and our heart. That is what it is supposed to signify, but it only signifies the worship of Lakshmi and Ganesh, that we just need good fortune, good luck, and lot of wealth, lot of Lakshmi. So Lakshmi sabko chahiye, Narayan kisi ko nahi chahiye. But actually, that is just exploiting the energy, exploiting the Lakshmi, wasting these resources, precious resources, Krishna's energy that are given to you. So it is said that this type of extravagant lifestyle, this type of extravagant spending leads to excess endeavor. You'll have to do so much prayas in your life, right, to maintain lifestyle. And then excess endeavor will lead to exploitation of other people, exploitation of the world and its resources. So 3 E's: extravagant spending, excess endeavor leads to excess endeavor, and excess endeavor leads to exploitation of people, exploitation of the mother nature. And this is how we are destroying the mother earth and the energies, which is one of the energy of the Lord. We just heard, right? This is the apara prakriti, or the inferior nature, the material energy of the Lord, which we are wasting. So now let me show you. So this is called atyahar. Atyahar is a very important word. So some words that you need to remember is, after Ishavasyam, another word need to remember is atyahar. So always think, are we doing atyahar? Am I eating excessively? So in terms of everything, there can be atyahar. So we should only consume what is our adhikar. Adhikar is another word. Prabhupada has not mentioned this word in the purport, but this is a very common word. We should only take what is our adhikar, meaning what is our qualification. So we should only take proportionate to our qualification, proportionate to our service. Am I serving Lord enough? Do I deserve to consume this product? Do I deserve to, do I need to waste this Lakshmi? Always think, twice before we do these things. So let me show you. This is the quota. This is a table put together by a very wonderful devotee. His name is His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu. Some of you are very familiar with him, I'm sure. He gives amazing classes. So he says, do not try to enjoy beyond your quota allotted by the God. Okay, everyone has a set quota. So the quota is in terms of food, in terms of property, in terms of wealth, in terms of work also. Okay, in terms of endeavor, how much endeavor we do, prayas we do, spouse, okay, spouse, residence, position or post, domination. Okay, there are some more points. I don't think I can go into each and every point, but each and every point can be a big learning lesson for us, and you can see for yourself where you are doing atyahar, where one may be doing atyahar. The most basic one is food. So you know that we should be eating vegetarian food. Now, my question to you is eating vegetarian food enough? Some people are very proud that I'm vegetarian. Is that all? So when we are eating vegetarian food, are we not consuming Krishna's energy? One of the very early on, one of the actually non-vegetarian people, meat-eating people asked me this, that when you eat fruits and vegetables, that is also made by God, just like these animals, you're eating them. So why are you saying that it's a sin to eat non-vegetarian? But is it not a sin to eat vegetarian food with that respect? Is it enough to just be vegetarian? Is there something missing?
Aditya, I think the biggest thing is to prasadam. Like you have to offer it to the God. That's where I think it becomes.
Yes. Okay. So you have to make everything, you have to use everything in service of Lord, right? So you have to offer everything to Lord. So just eating vegetarian food is not enough. You need to say thanks to the Lord for even giving that vegetarian food, right? So if you eat without saying your grace, without saying your prayers, there is a tradition of saying grace in almost every religion. And so if we are not saying prayers before eating food, if we are not offering it to the Lord, if we don't make it bhoga, right? If we are not giving it to Lord to consume first, then we are just eating sin. And Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Nanda.
Even if it's vegetarian and even if it's prasadam, we still shouldn't eat too much because it still is wasting property of Mother Earth.
Yes. Yes. So, okay. So starting from the very basic. So Navya mentioned very nice point. Starting from the very basic. Eating vegetarian food is not enough. Anyone knows of a very famous vegetarian person who has who is considered like the epitome of cruelty and violence? Do you know? There's a very famous personality.
I can guess. Was Hitler vegetarian?
Yes, Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was vegetarian. So just boasting that I'm vegetarian, that's not enough. But okay, let's come to that standard. At least let's stop eating meat. Let's stop killing living entities. So pela step is to stop eating meat and just eat vegetarian. Why? So the reason is that animals, yes, made by Lord, superior energy of the Lord. Plants also superior energy of the Lord. Both are superior energies, but plants, crops, right? They have much lower consciousness than animals. Okay, so their consciousness being very low, they do not feel pain, they do not feel they're much lower in the life cycle, in the ecological system, than where the animals are. Animals are on a much bigger or a higher journey towards Godhead, back to Godhead. You can say in a spiritual journey, they're on a much higher platform. So their consciousness is much more superior. So yes, it is a greater sin to kill an animal with an advanced consciousness. Okay, just like even in humans, right? Brahm hatya is a very big sin, right? Anybody that has a very elevated consciousness, killing that person is a bigger sin. So in terms of spiritual uh, um, uh, understanding, it is a bigger sin, bigger problem in cutting off the life cycle of somebody with advanced consciousness like an animal, as compared to those of lower consciousness, almost very zero nil consciousness of the plants. They are also living entities. So um, they should also be consumed without atyahar. They should also be consumed in limitation. Then the second step, so we came from non-vegetarian to vegetarian. Then in vegetarian, the second concept is offer to the Lord, because unless you offer to the Lord, you're eating sin. Even if you're eating vegetarian food, it is still sinful. If you're not saying prayers, you're not offering to the Lord, you don't put it on the altar for Lord to accept it first, to show your gratitude, it is considered sinful. So what does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita?
ठीक है यज्ञशिष्टासनासन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकल्पशे मुच्यन्ते ते तुकं पापा अन्नकारणम्
Bhunjte te tvagam papa. They are eating pap. Ye pachanti atma karanam. Who are eating pachanti atma karanam. अपने लिए खा रहे हैं जो सिर्फ भोग के लिए खा रहे हैं जो. They are eating only sin. Ye pachanti atma karanam. Okay. And there are so many other verses like that. That's the most famous one. Okay, so then you're eating prasad. Now, Navya's point was that even prasad, you should not eat atyahar. Okay, this gulab jamun is a prasad. It has been offered to the Lord. So let me eat 10 of this. No, that is still atyahar. So even with prasad, even though prasad should be eaten in full, but it doesn't mean that you do atyahar. Okay, so that's a more subtle understanding. But the first two understanding we need to come to eat vegetarian food, which is the allotted quota for humans. Secondly, in vegetarian food also to make it transcendental, so that it does not entangle us. Taki karm bandhan na lage, sinful reaction na lage, we have to offer it to the Lord. Then similarly in property, right? Not encroach upon the property of others. These things, I think somewhat we understand, property and wealth. But if we follow this principle of quota, understanding that we did not make anything, like let's say property, did we make the wood that the iron, the stone, the earth, the grains, all these things that we are consuming, did we make them? Like we are very proud, right? Scientists and all are very proud of their various creations or inventions, but did they create these things? So the first point to understand is that we are not the creator. Okay, we did not create anything. We are just using them. Okay, we are just discovering them. Yes, so we are not the proprietor, we are not the creator, we are not the controller. We just discovered them. So there are so many rules and laws Krishna has put in this cosmic manifestation. We are only discovering them. Like Archimedes discovered the principle of buoyancy, right? He said, Eureka, Eureka, and he jumped out of the bathtub because he had discovered this principle. So he had only discovered it. He did not invent it. He did not create it. Newton, he discovered 3 laws of motion. He discovered gravity, right? He did not create gravity. Gravity was already put in place by the Lord. Laws of thermodynamics, right? And then Einstein's theory of relativity. There are so many other laws, all the rules of mathematics, all the rules of physics and chemistry and biology, and rules of space, and rules of atomic energy and nuclear physics, and so many things. They were only discovered by us, so we cannot claim that we made them. They were always there. It was all there, always. It was all there. We just discovering them. So that is first point we need to understand. We are very small. We are like an ant who's trying to understand the intelligence of a scientist, and slowly we are discovering these things. And Krishna says that I am the Maheshwar, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapsam Sarvalok Maheshwaram. That I am the Maheshwar. So once we get this understanding, we are not the proprietor. This is Ishavasyam. Use those things in set quota. Don't encroach on other people's property. So don't engage in extra invasions and expanding your, uh, you know, kingdoms and power. And what does all that lead to? All that has led to only exploitation. All that has led to country like India became so poor and became a third world country. Sone ki chidiya became a third world country. Why? Because of these invaders who have this no concept of Ishavasyam, right? People engage in extramarital affairs, not understanding that that person is not for me to enjoy. I have been given a person to be with, right? So use your set quota. Don't encroach on others' property. All these extramarital affairs happen because of this enjoyership mentality, not understanding that I am the servant, not the Lord, but we are trying to be the Lord. Animal slaughter, right, happens because of this, because I can kill this animal and make it into my leather belt or leather bag. All this fraud and corruption happens because now we have to we want to enjoy more and more money. So why can't I steal somebody's money? Let me tweak some numbers here and there and transfer this money from here to there and do money laundering and corruption, engage in all these scams and right, fraudulent affairs. So but Krishna's rule is that you have to live cooperatively, you have to live peacefully, use the quota that has been assigned to you, earn your wealth honorably, peacefully, and sanctify everything. So sanctify everything that is given to you by offering to the Lord. So not only understand you are the servant, I am the Lord, use what is given to you, and third, sanctify everything by offering to the Lord. Okay, so give it first to the Lord. So this is Einstein. Einstein was actually one of the few very famous scientists of this world who was not an atheist. Actually, there are many great scientists actually who believe in God. And Einstein had read Bhagavad Gita. He has many beautiful quotes about it. And I really like to quote Einstein many times because he mentions you can see his true genius, not in the actually in the realm of physics. Actually, I think his true genius is in his quotes about spirituality, in his understanding of the spirituality, in his understanding of the Lord, of this universe. I think he was such a big genius because of those things. So then let's keep on reading. We have not too long to go so I want to finish this if we can. Okay, can somebody read this next paragraph?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, ma'am.
Take, for example, our dwelling, which is made up of earth, wood, stone, iron, cement, and so many other material things. If we think it's in terms of Sri Upanishad, we must know that we cannot produce any of these building materials ourselves. We can simply bring them together and transform them into different shapes by our labor. A laborer cannot claim to be a proprietor of a thing just because he has worked hard to manufacture it.
Mataji, next pe pad lo.
Okay. In the modern society, there is always a great quarrel between the laborers and capitalists. This quarrel has taken an international shape and the world is in danger. Men face one another in enmity and snarl just like cats and dogs. Sri Upanishad cannot give advice to the cats and dogs, but it can deliver the message of Godhead to man through the bona fide acharyas, holy teachers. The human race should take the Vedic wisdom of Sri Upanishad and cannot quarrel over material possessions. One must be satisfied with whatever privileges are given to him by the mercy of the Lord. There can be no peace if the communist or capitalist or any other party claims proprietorship over the resource of nature. Maneuvering, nor can the communists defeat the capitalists simply by fighting for the stolen bread. If they do not recognize the proprietorship of Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the property they claim uh, to be their own is stolen. Consequently, they will be liable to punishment by the laws of nature. Nuclear bombs are in hands of both communist and capitalist, and if both do not recognize the proprietorship of Supreme Lord, it is certain that these bombs will ultimately ruin both parties. Thus, in order to save themselves and bring peace to the world, both parties must follow the instructions of Sri Upanishad.
Very bold. So I think we have read this, we have understood this point. Prabhupada is quoting the difference between capitalists and communists here. How these party claim proprietorship. Both are false propagandas. Of course, we know that communism is more false than the capitalism. So, okay, let's keep reading. Who wants to read the next? Let's read the next two paragraphs and finish. Okay, Nilveni Mataji, want to read again? I'm sorry if I'm missing somebody.
I can read my. There's nobody available.
I think Nilveni Mataji is available. She can read one, this next one, Mataji. Namita Mataji, you can read the next one, and we'll go from there. Go ahead, please, one of you. Let's keep going.
Human beings are not meant to quarrel like cats and dogs. Cats and dogs. They must be intelligent enough to realize the importance of an aim of human life. The Vedic literature is meant for humanity and not for cats and dogs. Cats and dogs can kill other animals for food without incurring sin. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste buds, he is responsible for the laws of nature. Consequently, he must be punished.
So this point is very important, that we have to follow the laws of nature. And if we break the laws of nature, then we would be punished. So this point we discussed last time also, that you will see this in your life. If you're following the laws of nature, like if you eat, we discussed, like if you eat sattvic food, if you do, regulated amount of exercise, sleep regular amount of sleep, treat people nicely, right? All those things, you will see that the world will encourage you. You will have good body, you will feel good, health will be good. But if you start eating nonsense things, drugs or alcohol or smoking or anything like that, you will feel the burden on your body and on your health, on your mind will get disturbed, intelligence will be low, so many things, your behavior will be off, relationships will be off, so many things. We see that if we have good, if we are in harmony with the laws put by the Lord, if we are connected, if we align our lives with the laws of the Lord, then we will have a good, sanctified, you know, a life that also does not just look good, but feels good. Right? Abhi, what we are trying to do is to make just the life look good. By consuming a lot of things or by showing off to the world a lot of things. We do not need to show off to people. We just need to show off to Krishna. Only Krishna needs to be impressed. Nobody else needs to be impressed, really. So you'll see that if you follow his rules and laws, he will be very impressed, and the world will encourage you. You will be encouraged in this world. And if you go against the rules or laws of the nature, you may enjoy it temporarily. Temporarily, you may feel good, but in the long run, you will be kicked. So, okay. Yes, Mataji, please read the next one.
The standard of life for human beings cannot be applied to animals. The tiger does not eat rice and wheat or drink cow's milk because he has been given food in the shape of animal flesh. Among the many animals and birds, some are vegetarian and some are carnivorous, but none of them transgress the laws of nature, which have been ordained by the will of the Lord. Animals, birds, reptiles, and other lower life forms strictly adhere to the laws of nature. Therefore, there is no question of sin for them, nor the Vedic instructions meant for them. Human life alone is a life of responsibility.
Very bold. So, very nice point. Prabhupada is saying even animals and birds, they all follow the laws of the nature, right? They do not transgress the laws of the nature. Actually, even if they transgress the laws of the nature, it's okay, because those laws, they are not supposed to have an advanced intelligence or advanced consciousness to follow the laws of the nature. So even if they transgress, it'll be okay, because these laws are put in place for our gradual progressive advancement towards self-realization. And only human life is a life of responsibility. Human life is a life of self-realization. So if they are following the rules nicely, we need to definitely follow the rules nicely, because actually those rules are more meant for us than for them. It's like saying कि एक छोटा बच्चा है घर में, एक बड़ा बच्चा है. छोटा बच्चा चलो रूल तोड़ भी देता है तो कोई बात नहीं, पर बड़े को नहीं तोड़ना चाहिए, बिकॉज ही हैज मोर अंडरस्टैंडिंग, मोर इंटेलिजेंस ऑफ द कॉन्सेप्ट, राइट. वो हो क्या रहा है कि छोटे तो रूल फॉलो कर रहे हैं अच्छे से, बिकॉज दे आर सबमिसिव एंड दे आर हम्बल एंड दे आर अलाइंड विद द विल ऑफ द पेरेंट्स. बट बड़े रूल तोड़ रहे हैं बिकॉज दे आर वेरी, यू नो, rebellious and independent, so-called independence. That is the condition of the human beings right now. We are very rebellious and we want to be independent and we want to exert our lordship and exert our independence on this world. So we have to break these rules. So we are breaking the rules set by our parents actually. And that is not pleasing to the parent. That is not pleasing to the parent. So we will be slapped in the face by the parent shortly. And we see all this happening. We see all these weather problems happening and all these wars happening and all these terrorist attacks happening. And we think, why is there so much suffering in this world? Why? Because you're breaking the rules of the nature, the rules placed by the Lord. So you're now getting the sinful reaction back. So we need to leave that so-called independence aside and be submissive and humble and act as servant of the Lord. Be willing to align ourselves with the laws and desires of the Lord. Okay, let's read.
Mataji, I have a question.
Yes, Mataji.
About this, I mean, vegetarian, like sometimes, like when we are living in a multi-family, although like one person is not eating not eating meat, not cooking meat, but when we go grocery shopping, we have to buy meat for the family members. So we are still incurring the sin in that.
Yes, Mataji, we are, but you have to just keep praying. That's why very important you intensely chant and pray for mercy, that may they also see the right path and come to, so that all of us can advance on this path and not be incurring sin anymore and actually be engaged in the service. So sinful life and service, two completely opposite poles. But your intention is in the right place, your wishes are in the right place. You're just in a, as you know, we are in a human body, so we are stuck in this material world in particular situations of different family affairs and whatnot. So we have to just sort of balance these things in our life, but you have to pray very hard for their progress, for their enlightenment, and that may you be put out of this situation where you have to do these abominable things. So slowly things will happen, but you can keep feeding them prasadam as much as you can. Just feed people prasadam as much as you can. Okay, let's keep going. Who wants to? Let's see who has not read. Oh, Ketan Prabhu, would you like to read? Are you available?
ठीक है माता जी. It is wrong, however, to think that simply by becoming a vegetarian, one can avoid transgressing the laws of nature. Vegetables also have life, and while it is nature's law that one living being is meant to feed on another, for human beings, the point is to recognize the Supreme Lord. Thus, one should not be proud of being strict vegetarian. Animals do not have developed consciousness by which to recognize the Lord, but human being is sufficiently intelligent to take lessons from the Vedic literature and thereby know how the laws of nature are working and derive profit out of such knowledge. If a man neglects the instruction of the Vedic literature, his life becomes very risky. A human being is therefore required to recognize the authority of Supreme Lord and become his devotee. He must offer everything for the Lord's service and partake only the remnant of the food offered to the Lord. This will enable him to discharge his duty properly. In Bhagavad Gita 9.26, the Lord directly states that he accepts vegetarian food from the hands of a pure devotee. Therefore, a human being should not only become strict vegetarian, but should also become a devotee of the Lord. Offer the Lord all his food and then partake of such prasadam, or the mercy of the God. Only those who act in this way can properly discharge the duties of the human life. Those who do not offer this food to the Lord eat nothing but the sin and object themselves to various types of distress, which are results of sin. In Bhagavad Gita 3:13. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Maybe read this one also, we can finish.
Sure. The root of sin is deliberate disobedience to the laws of nature. To this, regarding the proprietorship of the Lord, disobeying the laws of nature, or the Lord, or order of the Lord being ruin to the human being. Conversely, one who is sober, who knows the laws of nature, and who is not influenced by unnecessary attachment or aversion, is sure to be recognized by the Lord and thus become eligible to go back, Godhead, back to the eternal home. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So last two paragraphs, Prabhupada has over and over mentioned the concept about the following the orders of the Lord, following the laws of the nature, and not disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord. So if you're intelligent, if you're sober, then you will follow these Vedic laws. They are put in place for your advancement, for your proper, achieving the goal of the life. But otherwise, if you do not follow, if you neglect the instructions of the Vedic literature, life becomes very risky. So it's a very risky business to disregard the rules, laws placed by the Lord in this world. So not only will you stay entangled, but also you will get sinful reaction, and those sinful reaction will make you go down in the species or go down into the lower planets, hellish planets also. So it's a very difficult position for the soul. Let's see, I had some other things. Let me, so this is end of the verse. So the main concept to remember is Isha Vasyam. The second concept to remember was the quota that has been given, and we should not do Atyahar. So Atyahar was another word to remember, and we should only consume what is our Adhikar. And the other concept that Prabhupada has mentioned was about the Vedic laws, about the laws of the Lord. So this is I'll just mention this in 2-3 minutes. It's a very big topic. Maybe we can cover it next time. So lot of times, people say, why is there so much suffering in this world? So the answer to that is actually the suffering is because of, the reason that we, the living entities, we were supposed to act in our natural position and be servant of the Lord. We were supposed to be submissive, cooperative. We were supposed to follow the guidance and instruction of the Lord, right? We were supposed to love and serve the Lord, align our wishes with him. But we became separated. We started thinking ourselves to be the master, and we wanted to enjoy. We wanted to defy the law. So we came to the material world. And this material world is a jailhouse where there are laws applicable. So we have put ourselves under the control of the laws of this material world. So if we do not follow those laws, then we will get reactions according to our actions in this world. You are in jail. So if you break those laws, you will get, utne dande padenge because you broke the law of the jailhouse. So then you have suffering or misery. So that's why there is suffering or misery in this world. It's not that Lord is directly causing any suffering. He's aloof from this material world. He's not participating in this world, right? We are inviting trouble by doing the wrong things, by not following his guidance and instruction. So while living in this world, if we go back to our natural position as a servant, I have made this flow chart, you can see on the screen. If we go back to our original position of being in the servant, being submissive, being cooperative, being in service mood, aligning our wishes and desires with him, then we will make Lord happy, and we will be taken out of this jailhouse actually, and we will be also transcendental beyond the laws of this nature. Then we will become unlimited, complete, whole, and perfect, like the first mantra was saying. So this is the rule why we have suffering here. So the world has, it is also said that the world is both sweet and bitter. Why is world? So there is both happiness and distress. World has some happiness, some sweetness in it because it is a creation of the Lord. Because it is emanating from the Lord, it is happy place also. But it is also a bitter place, a place full of misery because it is separated from the Lord. Okay, so it emanates from the Lord. So that's why it's a sweet place, but it is separated from the Lord. That is why it is a place of misery. So while living in this world, if we decide not to be separated from the Lord, then this bitterness part, the distress part will go away. Then there will be only pleasure and sweetness and happiness if we decide to become connected with the Lord in all situations. So there will, so that's why Krishna, the devotees do not see anything separate from Krishna. They see everything in attachment with Krishna. That's why they're always happy. So the world becomes complete and perfect when everything is used in service of the Lord. So happiness hai yahan pe because it is creation of the Lord, or distress hai yahan pe because it is separated from Lord. So if we decide to not be separated from Lord, then this world will become Vishwam Purnam Sukhayate. So for devotees, the world is actually Purnam Sukhayate. Devotees are happy in all circumstances. They do not see anything separate from Krishna. But because this world, everybody is separated from Lord, that is why there is suffering. What do you all think? That there should not be any suffering in this world? Some people lament about it, that we should just, there no death, there shouldn't be any death, just keep living happily ever after, just enjoy it to the best extent possible. Why is there so much, distress? I wish there was all just happiness here, just enjoyment here.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have one question that we discussed earlier about, माँ
मुझे पहले
वरदान.
मेरे क्वेश्चन का आंसर करो ना.
हाँ, नहीं, वही उसके ऊपर ही है ये आंसर आप जो बोल रहे हैं ना कि भाई why it is, I mean, yes, in one way I think the world is way going is the way it should be, because everybody should get that karma, like their
Okay, let's
happy or
round up this
sadness
point.
according to karma.
Let's round up this point first. So the point I'm trying to make, I want to make that point before we go into question. So the reason this place is not eternally happy, eternally enjoyable, like we said, we are separated from Krishna. And if Krishna decides to take away all these laws of karma and all these other laws and no death and nothing, then we will be eternally separated from Krishna, right? Or this is not what he wants. He wants us to come back. We need to go back to Godhead. So that is why there is very minimal amount of happiness and more problems and miseries, so that we feel the separation from Krishna and would like to go back. So, but that's why Krishna is complete whole, because he has made this world, he has designed this world for a purpose, and that purpose is our purification by putting these laws here, so that we would like to go back to him, right? Not just be forced to go back, but actually want to go back. Yes, now probably ask your question. I'm sorry, I just wanted to complete that point. So what question did you have from previous discussion?
That we discussed, that so many people take what that does not, belong to them, basically. And invaders come in. And so invaders came into India, and obviously, so many of them, and then people suffer, even though they took it, what they didn't belong to them. It was their bad behavior, but the people of India suffered for so many years. And I mean, obviously, we all still do, that is besides the point. But somebody took it, and because of that, they suffer. So, just if you can, explain.
Yes, Prabhuji, they are not people of India or anything. They are spirit souls that are here in this world to suffer. अगर कभी किसी के हाथ से कभी किसी के हाथ से suffering मिलेगी, that hand is just an instrument that's giving them their reaction, sinful reaction back. It's not that hand is just an instrument, right? So they are on a journey. So they will keep getting stuck in the cycle of misery and over and over again. So next time that those invaders, when they take birth, the next time they will suffer at the hands of somebody else. So it's not about India or Pakistan or Europe or America. These are all spirit souls. Somebody is harassing somebody today, will get harassed tomorrow, the next day. And the person who was harassed today, if he decided to take shelter of Lord in that time when he was being harassed, then he may advance in his journey back to Godhead. If he also decided to harass somebody else in turn, then he will also get that reaction back. So you just have to look at it in a broader context of the law of karma, the fact that we are spirit souls, we are on a journey, and not just bodily identification. Namita Mataji, you have a question?
But the question, I was just trying to answer to your question. जो आपने पूछा था, तो this is how I look at it. कि हाँ, अगर we have sweet and bitter moments both. अगर सब कुछ अच्छा ही चलता रहेगा, so you will never go. You will be just stuck in that material world. पर जब दुख आता है, तभी that's when we start, going more towards Lord. We start to do, and so it's a balance. This आपको जो अभी हमने पढ़ा laws of nature. This is all a cycle and the laws of nature. So this is all part of it. Ki bitter and sweet moments. We just have to, even in those sweet moments, we just cannot leave Lord and do our things so that we can go back to Godhead.
Yes, Mataji. So so Lord does not, there is no unlimited pleasure or enjoyment in this material world, and Lord has not made it to have unlimited pleasure or enjoyment. So ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि there is no death here, no misery here, completely independent of Krishna, you enjoy forever. Why? Because you're not independent of Krishna. You're supposed to not be separated from Krishna. तो जो थोड़ी बहुत happiness यहाँ मिलती भी है, that is very temporary. It is enjoyment with matter, and we are not matter. So we are Chetan. So Chetan वस्तु जो है वो जड़ वस्तु के साथ ज्यादा देर enjoy नहीं कर सकती. So चेतन वस्तु जड़ वस्तु के साथ बहुत temporary, short term enjoyment मिल सकती है. That is very shallow, not very pleasing, not very deeply satisfying, and that kind of enjoyment with dead matter is not long lasting at all. So we are Shakti and Shaktiman put together make a complete whole. This is also saying from Albert Einstein that I believe in the God who reveals himself in the ordinary harmony of what exists, not in a God who concerns himself with fates and actions of human beings. So Lord is aloof from the fates and actions of human beings. The fates and actions of human beings are in the hands of human beings. हमारा जो karma और ये है reaction है, action and reaction, they are in our hand. Our destiny is in our hands actually. So okay, there was very important point that I'll make next time that I could not cover today. We'll do it next time. Anybody else has any realizations, questions, reflections? Neelveni Mataji, did you want to share something?
Nothing, Mataji, sorry.
Okay. Okay, Haribol. So since we've exceeded the time, let's stop for today. Whoever wants to chant, please stay on for one round of chanting. Please read the verses on your own. I think that's why I'm trying to cover the purports in the class itself so that we can at least go through Prabhupada's purports. But do try to memorize these first two verses. They're very important, and please recite them as an offering to the Lord next time. Do it as a service to the Lord. Hari Bol. Thank you. Panchakaltarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah gurve gaurachandraya radhikaya tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah. Shri Isopanishad ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna, all glories to Guru and Garanga. Hare Krishna.